All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something really exciting. We are literally pulling back the curtain on the artificial intelligence industry. We're going to look past all the usual flashy headlines to see how these massive AI models actually get smarter behind the scenes, what venture capitalists are truly looking for right now, and ultimately, what this massive technological shift means for your career. If you've ever wondered what's really happening inside the fastest growing AI companies in the world, you are absolutely in the right place.
But hey, before we get to what all this means for your career, we got to start with a bit of a reality check. I imagine 99% of the companies will fail. Yep, that is a direct quote from inside the A16Z Speedrun program, which is one of the most elite venture capital incubators in Silicon Valley. Despite all the intense hype and literally billions of dollars flowing into AI right now, the brutal historical truth of the startup world remains completely intact. It is just incredibly hard to build something generational. But the 1% that do succeed, they are fundamentally rewiring the global economy. So, here's what we're covering today. First, the big meta-scale AI drama. Then we'll look at how the AI data stack is evolving, dive into the whole synthetic data debate, and check out global robotics data. After that, we'll tackle the future of AI startups. And finally, we'll wrap up with the rise of the new product builder.
All right, kicking things off with part one, the metascale AI drama, and a look inside Silicon Valley's totally unprecedented deal. So picture this, San Francisco, absolute hyper-growth mode, but suddenly there's a ton of confusion, and it all centered around one number, 49%. Scale AI is, without a doubt, one of the most important data labeling companies on the planet right now, and out of nowhere, Meta, Facebook's parent company, just swoops in and takes a massive 49% stake in them. For the folks actually in the trenches there, working till midnight, solving these crazy hard technical problems together, this was a total shock. Get this, most of the employees actually found out at the exact same time the general public did. Wild, right?
Now, what makes this so incredibly unprecedented is when you compare it to a normal buyout. Usually, a tech giant just buys a company outright, everybody gets absorbed, or they just pump in some capital. But Meta, they pulled a highly unusual move. They bought their 49%, sure, but then they essentially extracted the top 5 or 6 executives, including the CEO, just plucked them out to go build Meta's super intelligence labs. The rest of the company just left to run completely independently. No day-to-day meddling from Meta at all. Obviously, this sparked some intense uncertainty about equity, future growth, and, how rival AI labs would react. But honestly, it perfectly highlights the cutthroat inside baseball tactics these massive companies are using right now just to lock down top-tier AI talent.
Moving on to Section 2, Evolving the AI Data Stack, how models actually get smarter. It is so fascinating to step back and look at the journey we've been on with training data. Back in Era 1, it was super basic. We're talking autonomous vehicles where people were just drawing boxes around traffic lights and pedestrians. Then, large language models hit in Era 2, and the focus shifted to text. Stuff like basic translations and conversational fine-tuning, which is known as reinforcement learning from human feedback. But look at where we are now in Eras 3 and 4. We went from clicking boxes to needing profound, highly specialized expertise. Today, AI labs literally need a Stanford math professor to write complex solutions just to stump their newest models. Or they need a veteran investment banker to jump into a simulated data room, dig through 100 financial files, and grade the AI on whether it flagged the right 10. It's a whole different ballgame. Because of that shift, high-quality AI data is definitely no longer just cheap commodity labor. Right now, AI labs are paying doctors and top-tier experts anywhere from $100 to $150 an hour just to evaluate AI reasoning and provide their subjective judgment. These data platforms aren't just selling human hours anymore. They're selling rock-solid expert outcomes. The barrier to entry in this industry has absolutely skyrocketed. Which brings us to Section 3, the synthetic data debate. Where is the market headed? Will AI models eventually just generate their own training data? Man, that is the existential question hanging over the entire data labeling industry right now. If you're out there building a massive business supplying human data to AI labs, this is absolutely the question keeping you up at night. Inside Silicon Valley, there's a fierce debate, basically splitting into two camps. On one side, you have the optimists. They argue that as spending on data centers and highly advanced chips goes through the roof, spending on the final critical ingredient, which is data, has to naturally increase right alongside it to keep improving the models. But on the flip side, there's a very real fear that synthetic data is going to just kill human labeling entirely. If these models get smart enough to train themselves, those massive data budgets from the top AI labs, they're going to dry up overnight.
Truthfully, no one knows for sure which side is going to win out. Though a lot of insiders do remain pretty optimistic that as AI tackles more complex, real-world enterprise problems, the need for unique human judgment is definitely going to stick around, just in totally new ways. All right, part 4. Global robotics data opportunities, stepping out of the Silicon Valley bubble. We are at a massive inflection point for robotics right now. To function reliably in the real world, robots need physical data, and lots of it. So how do we get it? Well, it happens on a spectrum. Step 1 is egocentric data. This is super easy, just strapping a GoPro to your chest while you do a task. Easy to collect, but generally lower quality. Step 2 steps it up with sensor data. This is where you wear actual physical sensors on your arms. It really helps close what's called the embodiment gap, essentially translating human movement directly into robot movement. And then you have step 3, teleoperations. This is where a human operator directly remote controls the robot. It is incredibly difficult and super expensive to pull off, but it gives you the absolute highest quality data possible. So what does all this physical data collection mean for the rest of the world? It means there are massive opportunities far outside the usual tech hubs. Take a place like Bangladesh, for example. Folks there have unique, practically unfair advantages. Global buyers are desperate for specific, real-world data. You can step in and solve local gaps that big tech totally ignores, or capitalize on your access to physical spaces. Just imagine leveraging access to local garment factories or large-scale commercial laundry and dishwashing setups to record thousands of hours of high-quality egocentric or sensor data. That physical data feeds straight into the global robotics engine. It's a huge opportunity. Moving on to Section 5, the future of AI startups, insights from A16Z Speedrun. Top-tier venture capitalists know exactly what the landscape looks like right now. Startups are inherently brutal. And when you're evaluating the future of AI startups, you pretty much have to operate under the assumption that almost all of them will fail. Like that quote from earlier said, it is just incredibly hard to build something truly generational and disruptive. Because the odds are so tough, VCs have grown incredibly cynical about markets that are already jam-packed. If you are looking to build a company or even invest right now, you need to be super wary of a few specific spaces. We're talking AI for go-to-market or sales assistants, generic data selling companies, AI customer service agents, and AI creative tools. These markets are so completely flooded right now that when a new pitch lands on a VC's desk, their first thought is, how on earth is a newcomer going to outcompete the giants already doing this? Now look, it doesn't mean a breakout success is impossible, but man, your execution has to be absolutely flawless. To survive that crazy 99% failure rate, founders need some serious leverage. They need an unfair advantage, and being backed by a top-tier incubator provides exactly that. It is so much more than just $1 million check. Look at this. It's up to $8 million in vendor credits for computing power and APIs. It's access to a dedicated talent network that can drop top-tier engineers into your startup almost instantly. It's having an entire creative lab and go-to-market team right at your fingertips. Basically, they are providing world-class networking and scaling as a service, just to give these founders a fighting chance. And finally, Section 6, the new product builder, navigating the shifting labor market. As AI becomes capable of essentially one-shotting incredibly complex coding or design problems, the actual shape of how companies are built is fundamentally changing. We are rapidly moving toward much leaner team structures that revolve around a brand new role, the product builder. Think about it. Instead of needing, say, 2 specialized designers and a front-end developer just to build one new feature, a single product builder can use AI to execute the whole shebang. For you, this means your value in the labor market is shifting big time. It's moving away from mere execution, like just writing the code or designing the button, to being highly strategic. Moving forward, you have to promise an outcome, not just a technical solution. Now, I hear you. You might be sitting there thinking, well, I definitely don't see this happening in my office yet. And you'd be right. Currently, it's estimated that a massive 97% of the world has not fully adopted these advanced AI workflows. And why is that? It mostly boils down to enterprise cost structures and profit margins. The subscription costs for these really powerful frontier models are still super high, making it tough for average businesses, especially on a global scale, to deeply integrate AI into their daily operations. But here's the thing. Those costs, they are inevitably going to come down. So I want to leave you with a massive, provocative thought to take away from this explainer today. If AI can already one-shot the work of entire specialized development teams right now, what exactly happens to the global labor market and to your specific job when that remaining 97% finally adopts this tech? It is definitely time to start thinking like a product builder.
Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and as always, keep learning.